What if I told you that one of the most famous stories on the internet is also one of the most misunderstood? They say one Jewish family owns America. It's banks, it's media, it's power. Millions believe it. Millions share it. But what if the real story is far more shocking than conspiracy itself? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will change how you see money, power, and truth forever. Welcome to a world of imagination. The stories on this channel are entirely fictional, designed to entertain and captivate. Any resemblance to real people, events, or situations is purely coincidental. These narratives are not a reflection of reality, but a playful escape into the realm of creativity. Enjoy the adventure and let your imagination run wild. What if I told you that one of the most viral claims on the internet is also one of the most misunderstood stories of our time? A claim so powerful that millions believe it without question. A sentence repeated in videos, comments, and posts across the world. One Jewish family owns America. It sounds shocking. It sounds secretive. And it sounds just believable enough to make people stop scrolling. This idea has captured the imagination of millions. You've probably seen it yourself. Short clips, dramatic thumbnails, bold headlines claiming that banks, media, corporations, and even government are controlled by a single hidden family. Each video adds more mystery, more fear, and more confidence, as if the truth has finally been exposed. But before we believe it or completely dismiss it, there's something important we need to do. We need to slow down, because the most dangerous stories are not always the loudest ones. They are the ones that mix small pieces of truth with big misunderstandings. So ask yourself this. If one family truly owned America, how would it stay hidden in a country built on laws, competition, elections, and public records? Why would thousands of journalists, economists, and historians stay silent? And why does this story appear most often during times of economic stress, uncertainty, and fear? The truth is not a secret family ruling the world from dark rooms or hidden meetings. The truth is far more complex and far more interesting. This story is really about money and influence, about how power has shifted throughout history, about how financial success can be misunderstood, and about how humans naturally search for simple explanations in a complicated world. It's also about how the internet turns curiosity into certainty and rumors into facts. Once you understand where this story came from, how it evolved, and why it feels so convincing, you'll start seeing it differently. Not as a hidden truth, but as a reflection of how power, fear, and misunderstanding collide in modern society. And that is why, even years later, this topic still gets millions of views. Because people aren't just searching for answers. They're searching for someone to blame. The idea that a single Jewish family owns America did not appear overnight. It did not start on YouTube nor on social media. This story is much older, more than 200 years old, and its roots lie deep in European history. In the late 18th and early 19th centuries, Europe was changing fast. Empires were expanding, wars were expensive, and governments desperately needed money. At that time, modern banking was still new. Most people had no access to loans, credit, or financial systems. Money moved slowly, and information moved even slower. This is where famous banking families entered the picture. Families like the Rothschilds became well known because they understood finance earlier than others. They invested in banks, railways, trade routes, and government loans, industries that were building the modern world. Their success didn't come from magic or secrets, but from timing, organization, and financial knowledge. However, as their wealth grew, so did public curiosity and fear. Most ordinary people didn't understand how banking worked. So instead of asking how these families made money, many began asking why they had so much. When understanding is missing, imagination takes over. Slowly, success turned into suspicion, and wealth turned into rumors. Stories spread faster than facts. People began whispering that such families must have hidden power, secret connections, or control over governments. These ideas were passed from generation to generation, often exaggerated each time they were told. Later, when Jewish families migrated to America in search of opportunity and safety, they carried both their skills and the old rumors with them. In a new land filled with opportunity, some succeeded in business, finance, and industry. But instead of seeing this as part of the American dream, the same old thinking followed them. The myth evolved. What started as confusion about banking slowly transformed into the false belief that financial success equals total control. But here's the key truth that history makes very clear. Being successful in finance does not mean owning a country. Wealth can create influence, but influence is not ownership. Governments, laws, elections, and competition prevent any single family from controlling an entire nation. The myth was never born from facts. It was born from misunderstanding, fear, and a lack of knowledge about how money and power truly work. And once a myth is born, it doesn't disappear easily, that let's be very clear. Because clarity matters here. No family, Jewish or otherwise, owns America. Not one family. Not one group. Not one hidden circle. America is not a private company that can be owned by anyone. It is a nation built on systems, laws, and institutions that distribute power across many levels. Ownership in America is divided among its government, its legal system, its citizens, and thousands of businesses and investors who compete with one another every single day. Power in America is not centralized. It is fragmented. Yes, some Jewish individuals and families have been very successful in industries like banking, media, technology, and real estate. But that is not unique. The same is true for Christian, Muslim, Asian, African, and atheist billionaires across the country. Look at some of the most powerful business figures in modern America. Elon Musk, leading innovation in technology and space. Jeff Bezos, who transformed global commerce. Warren Buffett, one of the most successful investors in history. Bill Gates, who reshaped personal computing. These individuals are not connected by religion, ethnicity, or secret meetings. They are connected by something much simpler and much less mysterious. Innovation, risk-taking, timing, and capitalism. In a capitalist system, success does not come from hidden control. It comes from identifying opportunity, taking massive risks, failing many times, and adapting faster than competitors. The idea that one family controls everything is attractive because it simplifies a very complex system. Instead of understanding markets, regulations, corporations, and global economics, it offers a single explanation for why some people succeed and others struggle. But reality doesn't work that way. America has thousands of powerful corporations that compete against each other. It has courts that limit influence, regulators that challenge corporations, elections that shift political power, and media outlets that disagree constantly. Even the richest individuals lose money, face lawsuits, and fail publicly. True control would mean no competition, no resistance, and no accountability. That simply does not exist in America. The myth survives not because it is true, but because it feels easy to understand. Complex systems are uncomfortable. Simple stories are comforting. But comfort is not truth. And the truth is this. America is not owned by a family. It is shaped by millions of competing forces. Every single day. So why does the story feel true to so many people, even though it isn't? The answer lies not in hidden families or secret power, but in human psychology. Humans naturally look for simple explanations, especially when life feels confusing, unfair, or out of control. When jobs are lost, prices rise, or opportunities disappear, people instinctively search for someone or something to blame. A complex economic system with thousands of companies, policies, and market forces can be hard to understand. But a single, rich, mysterious family? That's easy to picture. It fits neatly into the human mind's preference for simple villains. It is much easier to say they are controlling everything than to spend time understanding global economics, stock markets, corporate competition, government policies, or systemic inequality. The brain craves stories that are easy to digest, and a single villain makes the story stick. Social media amplifies this effect. Platforms are designed to capture attention, and shocking titles, controversial claims, and viral videos spread faster than careful, factual explanations. A dramatic claim about secret power is far more likely to be clicked, shared, and repeated than a detailed breakdown of how finance, governance, or media really work. Each share reinforces the illusion of truth, and repetition has a powerful effect. Psychologists call this the illusory truth effect. The more we see a statement repeated, the more our brain starts accepting it as fact, even if it's false. That's why these videos, posts, and articles can go viral and feel convincing, even when the underlying claim has no evidence. Additionally, Humans are wired to notice patterns and connections. When a wealthy family or a person in a high position seems to influence multiple areas of society, the mind automatically assumes intentional control. It's a mental shortcut that feels logical, even though reality is far more complex. The combination of fear, curiosity, simplicity, repetition, and social amplification makes myths feel real. It is not about evidence. It is about perception. The story feels true because it satisfies psychological needs. It explains uncertainty, identifies a villain, and provides a narrative that is easy to remember and share. Understanding this helps us see why people believe in myths like one family owns America. It is not rational truth. They are responding to deep, natural human tendencies amplified by the digital world. And once you recognize the psychological forces at work, the story stops being a frightening mystery and becomes a lesson about how our minds work in the age of information. Here's the real untold story. Power in America is spread, not owned. It doesn't reside in the hands of a single family, group, or secret network. Instead, it is distributed across multiple forces, each influencing society in its own way. Power exists in corporations, shaping the economy and industries. It exists in governments, through laws, policies, and regulations that guide the nation. It exists in technology, which transforms communication, commerce, and social interaction. It exists in media, which influences perception, awareness, and debate. And it exists in public opinion, where the collective choices, votes, and actions of millions of people shape the country every day. Some individuals, families, or organizations may influence parts of the system, but no one controls it entirely. Success, influence, or wealth in one sector does not equate to ownership of the entire nation. The reality is far more nuanced and far more fascinating than the idea of a secret ruling family. Blaming one community or one family for challenges of society is not just inaccurate, it is dangerous. It distracts attention from the real issues that affect millions of lives. Economic inequality that limits opportunities, corporate greed that manipulates markets, political corruption that undermines trust, and gaps in education that prevent people from understanding the world around them. These are the problems that shape lives of society, not mysterious conspiracies. History offers a clear warning. Societies that target a single group for blame often repeat patterns of injustice, persecution, and social collapse. When fear and misunderstanding are allowed to guide belief, the consequences affect everyone, not just those unfairly accused. The truth, though less sensational than a viral myth, is far more powerful. It reminds us that influence and power are complex, shared, and accountable. It teaches us that understanding the real systems behind wealth, governance, and media is far more valuable than chasing conspiracy theories. And the truth is simple. America is not owned by a family. It is shaped every day by decisions, systems, institutions, and the actions of people like us. From voters to entrepreneurs, from educators to journalists, from policymakers to ordinary citizens, every choice contributes to the direction of the nation. Understanding this truth is not just enlightening, it is empowering. It reminds us that change is possible and that responsibility belongs to all of us. The myths may grab attention, but the real story teaches lessons that no viral video ever could.